Draft resolution is adopted.
The vote overwhelmingly in favor of the draft. 143 countries supporting, 9 against, including Israel and the United States, and 25 abstentions. The two-thirds majority for adoption easily surpassed.
إن مشروع القرار اليوم واضح.
The draft resolution presented today is unambiguous. As we have mentioned, it recommends that the Security Council reconsider and support Palestine's request in light of the General Assembly's recognition of Palestine's eligibility and the advisory opinion of the ICJ dated May 28, 1948, and in accordance fully with Article 4 of the United Nations Charter.
The GA draft determines that the state of Palestine is qualified for membership in the UN and should be admitted to full membership of the organization. It recommends that the Security Council reconsider the matter favorably. It decides to adopt modalities for the participation of Palestine in the sessions and work of the General Assembly, including the right of its delegation to be elected as officers of the plenary and main committees of the GA, international conferences convened under the auspices of the GA and other organs of the UN, and calls for renewed and coordinated efforts towards a peaceful settlement of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Palestine's envoy told the Assembly each vote would speak to an individual country's solidarity with the state of Palestine.
A yes vote is a vote for Palestinian existence. It is not against any state, but it is against the attempts to deprive us of our state. That is why the Israeli government is so opposed to it, because they oppose our independence and the two-state solution altogether. It is an investment in peace and thus empowers the forces of peace. How can anyone explain that Israel was admitted to the United Nations 75 years ago on the power of a resolution that foresaw two states, and without awaiting an end of the conflict, and while continuing to deny our rights and our existence, and that the state of Palestine, 75 years later, is still required to wait and remains met by a closed door, preventing it from being admitted to this organization.
Israel's ambassador attacked the process and accused the General Assembly of seeking to circumvent the Security Council and thereby trampling on the UN Charter while attacking Palestinians.
They are anything but peace-loving. The Palestinian Authority pays lifelong salaries to terrorists. It's in their budget. They teach martyrdom and jihad in their classrooms. They glorify death and murder. The Palestinians indoctrinate their children to murder Israelis and commit terror attacks. And then, when Israel defends herself, the Palestinian representative comes here, stands here, shedding his crocodile tears, as if he did not send all of them to commit suicide or terror attacks. Not a single Palestinian leader, not even one, has condemned the October 7th massacre. He calls the Hamas his brothers. And this is who you want to bestow the rights of a state upon? A terror entity? As long as so many of you are Jew-hating, you don't really care that the Palestinians are not peace-loving.
Prompting Pakistan's ambassador to issue this rebuke.
There will come a day when Israel will be held accountable for the crimes that it is committing in Palestine, especially in Gaza today. And we shall work towards holding Israel and its leadership accountable for these crimes. Yet what we have heard today are insults. Insults hurled at the United Nations, at this assembly, and at its member states. This is the arrogance of the aggressor.
A symbolic victory for Palestine, given the overwhelming support of member states, but a process that now returns to the Security Council on the full membership question, and where a US veto will prove an obstacle yet again. Shervin Ricebees, SABC News, New York.